Before we dive into today's episode, I have something exciting to share with you. If you're a teacher, principal, or supportive parent looking to bring vibrant educational gardens to your school, I'm hosting a free webinar just for you. In this webinar, you'll learn step by step how to grow a thriving student-led school garden that's connected to your curriculum all during class time with no extra work outside of school hours for you teachers or parents. The webinar is available 3 times a day until February 20th, so it's easy to find a time that works for you. Head over to kidsgrowingcity.ca to register now and start growing with ease. All right, let's get into today's episode. Let's write those gardening lesson plans. Welcome to School Gardens with Ease. I'm your host, Leila Mir-Iskandari, and this is episode number 34 and part 2 of lesson plan writing. In the last episode, we said that instead of starting with your curriculum needs and trying to fit gardening into your curriculum, you have to start with a list of tasks that you need to do in order to grow a garden and then connect those to your curriculum. If you haven't listened to episode number 33, I highly recommend that you do that because otherwise it wouldn't make sense much, this episode. And I have thoroughly listed the list of the tasks that you need to do to grow a school garden in that episode, and you don't want to miss that information. Okay, now that we have a list of tasks, we have written the activity guide for indoor seed starting, which is an important task actually for any school garden. You have to do the same for the other tasks, meaning write step-by-step guides for yourself so that you know how to run those tasks in your classroom with your students so that the job gets done. They also learn hands-on and they're all participating while learning and having fun. You know, that's the part that where they actually learn how to grow food hands-on. Okay, now, for example, designing the garden is a task that needs an activity guide. Building the garden is a task that needs an activity guide, or a few activity guides, depending on how many types of gardens and what types of gardens you're building with your students. Transplanting the seedlings into the garden is an activity, is a task that needs an activity guide. Hardening office, so on and so forth. Notice I'm not saying write lesson plans, I'm saying write activity guides. Because even though activity guides are an important part of your lesson plans, there's more to lesson planning for a school garden than just the hands-on activities. Let me tell you how we wrote the lesson plans inside the Oasis programs. As you know, we started with the list of tasks. Then we match the schedule of the weeks of the program with the timing of when we have to start the seeds indoors, when we have to start them, sow them outside, and all the other activities, you know, the garden building, watering, hardening off, transplanting, setting up for summertime with the parents, etc., all those tasks. We match them, we schedule them throughout the entire program. Our programs are usually between 10 to 15 weeks, and that's how much time you need to actually grow a school garden with your class, you know, with ease and with proper timing, spending around 1 to 2 hours per week. Then we wrote the hands-on activities that I told you about, and then we listed all the concepts that we knew we wanted the next generation to learn when it comes to growing their own food. Because again, this is an educational garden. It is not a child labor facility, right? It's not about the food that's being produced. It's about what the kids are learning. Now, what are those things? They need to learn about seeds and germination, you know, plant life cycle, water and water cycle, soil building, sunlight, seasons, worms and composting, biodiversity, beneficial animals, insects, earth, etc. And finally, we put all of that together in a series of cohesive lesson plans. For example, lesson 1 is all about seeds, seedlings, and germination. And we start actually a seed arugula indoors. That's a hands-on activity, but we also bring all kinds of different seeds to show kids, talk about, you know, the fact that each seed, it has a different size and shape and texture. We talk about what seeds are and what happens when they actually are germinated. We talk about the fact that some seeds are edible what does that mean? And some other seeds are not edible. With older classes, we even get into very deep concepts of seed sovereignty and GMOs, etc. And here's where you find all those connections to your science and geography and history and math and language and arts, etc. Here's where your curriculum comes into play. Here's the connections, where connections happen. Here's how you can spring off to, mini experiments and craft making activities into games and outdoor fun. For example, in the lesson about water, we build water filters and we talk about sub-irrigation, and our kids actually build sub-irrigated systems to start seeds in. These are activities that are all in our Oasis programs. We in the lesson about the sun, we build sundials and solar cookers, and we grow sunflowers as the hands-on part of the hands-on growing activity. And here's where you build a classroom community that works together to achieve common goals. Here's how your lesson plans can expand into supplementing or even replacing your otherwise dry and boring programming in science and language and all of that. Here's how your lesson plans bring life to your teaching and grow you a garden. Teach your students not just growing food and not just, about the science and math and language of growing food, but that learning can be fun, exciting, and rewarding. That there is a tangible, practical reason they need to learn the math and science and language and all of that. Now, if you want to get your lesson plan, our lesson plan packages that are proven to work like magic and are written with over a decade of experience of growing school gardens, and save yourself a ton of time and energy, our Oasis programs are now open until February 21st, I think, around that time. And if you are here after that, make sure that you join the wait list for next year. I know that you will find the program fees very, very reasonable and fair, given the world of knowledge and practical tools and that they contain that make you and the teachers' lives easier. The link is, as always, in the show notes. Talk to you soon in the next episode. You've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and please share this episode with other teachers who might be interested in this topic. See you next week for a new episode.